Hello there. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, February 2nd. It is Groundhog's Day. Man, if this groundhog sees his shadow, I'm not ready for more winter. I'm so over the cold, but all of the ice has melted, so that's good. Did I see a full moon driving to school this morning? Yes, I did. And it's gonna be a busy day. I have a meeting during my planning time. I have a meeting after school. I have my walkthrough observation today. I have a lot of things on my to-do list just to get done in general, but I'm gonna bring you along with me. That way there's some accountability and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get through it. It's all gonna be fine. That's what I have to remind myself. But let's get the day started. All right, quick little weekend recap, because you may remember in my previous vlog, I mentioned that we were celebrating Billy's dad's birthday over the weekend, and Billy's sister was flying in to surprise him. We ended up pulling it off, but Friday night is when we went to the birthday dinner. So Billy's dad came to our house, we drove him to the restaurant, and the first kind of mini surprise is that Billy's cousin was joining us, and Billy's dad didn't know that. And it was good because that almost took off the edge a little bit, where he's like, okay, I've been surprised. You know, his guard was down. And the surprise with his sister showing up went perfectly. Billy's dad was to the back, he was facing the opposite way of the way Billy's sister was coming in. And so I was able to clock and see her, and I was able to get it on video. So I'll insert that so you can see it. But we thoroughly enjoyed that dinner, went back to our house. I had made a homemade coconut cake from scratch. It turned out okay. I don't think I'd use that recipe again. It was a little too dense, not light and moist and fluffy enough for what I envision a coconut cake to be. But regardless, we enjoyed that. Saturday night, we did get back together for another dinner, but Billy was kind of going downhill fast because, he was sick back in December and then started feeling better. I got sick at the beginning of January, started feeling better. I got sick again. I'm thankfully feeling better, and now it's Billy's turn to be sick again. So he was not feeling great on Saturday, but he persevered. We also got together for a brunch on Sunday morning before Billy's sister had to fly back home. So overall, it was a really great weekend, full of family time. It just felt kind of hectic because it was one thing after another. There wasn't a lot of downtime. But thankfully, this weekend ahead, it's Super Bowl weekend, which is the perfect time for downtime. As I mentioned, this week is very busy. First of all, it is National School Counselor Week, I believe is the official name. So let me quickly show you what I have put together from my class as well as my switch teacher's class for our school counselor. Okay, maybe not the most creative of all my ideas, but the inspiration was checkered things. And so for the card, I just made this in Canva, but it's a checkered background. And it's just a landscape paper folded in half. So on the front, it says you really check all the boxes, but I don't know why I put check in quotation marks, because that's the actual word. I probably should have done checks, CHEX, so that it was a play off of Chex Mix. But regardless, I put counselor, rock star, superhero, and then on the inside, when all of the students signed the card, I had them come up with a word to describe our counselor, empathetic, kind, caring, great listener, and they would write it, put a little checkbox, and then sign their name. So it kind of ties the theme together. I got this checkered bag from Walmart, and then inside there's just a bunch of different bags of Chex Mix, different flavors, the cheddar and the bold. These are the Muddy Buddies. So a good little blend. I'm gonna have a student take that with us today when we go to specials and drop that off. While I'm over here, shout out to one of my subscribers who fulfilled this from our Amazon wish list. I haven't shown these to my students yet, but they are little turtle squishies, which I have a student obsessed with turtles, so I already know they're gonna freak out. And very excited about this book, Mathematic Tasks for the Thinking Classroom. This is one of the, oh my gosh, I can't pick it up. This is one of the like follow-up books to some of the other ones. I have the actual like Thinking Classrooms book, but this one is like the tasks. So it gives you various like problems and things that students can work through. So very excited to spend some time going through that. Excited to add these into our prize box. Thank you again so much for supporting our classroom. Speaking of prize box, I had a student who brought in these little axolotl squishies, which are also absolutely adorable. My students are obsessed. So all the squishies, all the things, they can't get enough. Then in addition to School Counselor Week, we have an anti-bullying assembly that is happening, I believe, tomorrow. We have a local meteorologist who we've arranged to come meet with 4th grade on Thursday, and that was rescheduled from earlier in January. I'm trying to look at my calendar. There is a sticky note on every single day this week. When I set up my calendar, I put a sticky note with like events and things. Every day there is one. I've got student birthdays happening. It's a lot. So we're gonna take it one day at a time. It's all gonna be fine. Starting with today, I mentioned that I have meetings, various meetings. During my planning time, we have a monitoring meeting. This is where, as a grade level, we sit down with administration, intervention teachers, and we go through student data. So recently, our students took the STAR interim. It's considered like the spring STAR interim, even though it's January, but regardless, we take a look at that data. We give updates on how intervention is going. That's gonna take all the planning time. And then after school, I have a team leader meeting that I will need to go to, although it's been a long time since we've had one. We typically have them on Mondays, and I feel like Monday after Monday after Monday, there's either been no school or cancellations and whatnot. So I'm actually looking forward to that meeting just to like touch base on things. And then today, during my math flex time this morning, I'm gonna be having my like walkthrough observations. So my assistant principal will come just for a quick like 15 minutes to kind of watch that flex time and intervention and all of the things. So I'll let you know how that goes after school. A lot of it is kind of, I don't wanna say not prepped because I do plan for it, but at the same time, it's in response to what my students need. And so sometimes it does change on the fly, but we'll talk about that after school. Before school, let's take a look at my to-do list, because I felt like last night when I was moving things over to my power list, which is my like daily to-do list, they just kept coming with all the things. I need to set up my math word wall. I had to erase it for the STAR interim. I meant to kind of reset it up last week, but with having 2 snow days, that didn't happen. And then I need to stuff Tuesday folders at some point during the day, but I need to check with my switch teacher, make sure she doesn't have anything else for me. And then before I leave, I need to grade a science assignment that my afternoon class is gonna finish. And also I wanna start prepping for Valentine's Day, but we'll see if we get there because it's gonna be a busy day. So for now, let's go get this word wall done. Okay, first things first, I need to turn on my lights because they just make me happy when I see them. This needs to go to my Golden Emerson for the week. Okay, and then whenever I'm setting up the word wall and I'm starting on this side, I have to move this entire desk. So we're just gonna scooch it like this. Okay, good enough. And then I need a chair because I am 5'3". All right. Pen. I know I wanna start with like improper fraction and mixed numbers. So let's just put these over here because we don't need those right now. All right, let's start with improper fraction. All right, and then we'll give an example. So 5/4, and then I want to put a little arrow. Numerator is bigger than the denominator. I'm gonna put fraction greater than 1. Okay, and then give some space. I'll come off the chair for this. And then here, mixed number. And this pen is dying. So I'll do like 1 and 1/3. Put here, whole number, fraction. I feel like I want to put something about like also greater than 1, obviously, but just in case, also greater than 1. Okay, and then before getting into comparing, I want to have examples up here of switching back and forth. So we've been using a lot of number bonds. After our next CBA, we'll get into the actual algorithm. So I'm gonna just put improper to mixed. And I'll draw a number bond, 5/4, 4/4, just one whole, 1/4. Nope, 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 I need an arrow. It needs to match. Okay. And by the way, this is just a like microfiber cloth. That's what I use to erase. Mixed to improper. And what did I do? 1 1/3. 1/3. It's the same process. So this is my whole, which is 3/3. And my fraction, which equals 4/3. Okay. Then we can get into comparing. So I need to shift these over. We'll put adding probably like here. Comparing. Some of the different ways we've been using strip diagram or area model. Okay, so let's compare 3/4. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and show you the finished product because I feel like I'm wasting a lot of battery because I'm very slow at doing this. Okay, finished product, at least for now, before we move on to eventually adding and subtracting mixed numbers, which will fill in that space. But I just have a reminder of what an improper fraction is, as well as a mixed number. They're both fractions greater than 1. With an improper fraction, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Mixed numbers have a whole number part and a fraction part. Examples of how to convert improper to mixed and mixed to improper using number bonds, because we haven't learned the algorithm yet. That will be coming later this week, actually. Then some examples for comparing fractions. Now, we've learned a lot of different ways to compare them, including number lines and benchmark fractions, but I just recorded examples for the ways that my students have been doing it most often. So that would be like strip diagrams / area models and seeing which one has more shading and then finding a common denominator. And then for adding and subtracting fractions, reminding them that if they have like denominators, that means we are adding or subtracting the same units. So you can really just add or subtract the numerators. But I do want to have an example for when you are given like a mixed number. I personally encourage my students to convert it to an improper fraction first, because then it makes it much easier to subtract. So with that checked off the list, I'm going to use the rest of the morning time before my students come to ground myself for the day, which means I need to process any emails that I received over the weekend. I need to look back over my plans for today and just make sure I have everything pulled out. Oh, see, already in my brain, I'm like, oh wait, we're doing a little dice activity in math and I need to get out a die. But that process makes me feel much more at ease. And typically I do that Sunday night, but it was such a busy weekend, I just didn't get to it last night, and Billy wasn't feeling well, so we wanted to get in early. Regardless, I am happy to report that my whole getting to sleep earlier trend has continued. I am still on my streak of getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night. So I don't know, maybe am I ready to up it to 7? I don't want to be too greedy, but it's going well so far, so I'm proud of myself. But once my students come, I'll get my walkthrough done, I'll get meeting number 1 done, I'll get meeting number 2 done. We'll check in and we'll probably kick it off by discussing my walkthrough and then see what else we can get done off of the to-do list today. All right, besides being cold all day, it was a good Monday. This jacket, I planned on taking it off. I wore this to school thinking once I get in my room, I warm up a little bit, I'll take it off. No. It has not left my body all day. My hands have been cold, but I just got back from our team leader meeting, and it was basically just looking at the calendar over the next several weeks and going through all the events and things, because there's so much going on. I think I mentioned like there is a sticky note on almost every single day of the calendar this entire month. It's crazy. But I got our team planning agenda updated with all that information. I sent a text to my team to update them on some things. So now I can move on with my normal to-do list. good news is this morning I was able to get Tuesday folders stuffed, and while my students were packing up for dismissal, I went ahead and got them put out at student desks. So that is a Monday to-do list item every single week. Check, done, dusted. The science assignment that my afternoon class completed has been graded and put in the grade book because I had a couple of minutes after dismissal before the team leader meeting, so that's good. We are going to prep some Valentine's Day things, but first, let's talk about my walkthrough observation. So this is just a quick 15-minute observation. I don't have feedback yet, so we'll find out when we find out how it went, but from my perspective, it was what I wanted it to be. And by that I mean it was a very run-of-the-mill, typical flex time type of lesson. To me, observations, it shouldn't be putting on this dog and pony show, if you will. It should be very much a representation of your day-to-day. That way, the feedback you get is useful for you to use moving forward versus getting feedback on some extravagant lesson that you plan just for the observation, and then you can't really do much with the feedback that comes from that. So we are working on fractions, and specifically, last week we did a lot with comparing fractions. So for flex time today, I was working with some students who needed some additional support with various strategies for comparing fractions and just kind of re-hitting those skills and getting some more practice. So a couple of things I did to kind of differentiate. I had these little templates that I literally just made up in a Google slide and then printed out and put into a page protector, but it has a number line and then it has two strip diagrams, because I've noticed a lot of my students that struggle with comparing, they like to use a number line or to use the strip diagrams, but the issue is they sometimes struggle with their spacing when they draw it. And as a result, their holes won't be their same size, or when they split the whole into pieces, the pieces aren't the same size. And so especially today during intervention, I tried to really hone in on that with them, and having a template with the halfway mark already marked for them was a big help, and having the two holes that are already the same size. Now, obviously when it comes to testing, they don't have this, but teaching them how to use a piece of lined paper, and if they make their hole go all the way to the edges, then they know that it's gonna be the same size, where those lines are on the side. But we use this with dry erase markers, and then I also had fraction cubes, or I've always called them fraction towers, basically as a way for my students to verify and check. So we started with comparing fractions to 1/2. So these were the problems that we worked through, and I had one of these printed for each student. So they also had a pencil. They were using the pencil on here and then the dry erase marker on the template. But for each fraction, they would just decide if it was more or less than 1/2. So with this template, because 1/2 was already marked on the number line, if they placed the fraction, they could clearly see if it was more or less. And then with the strip diagrams, I had them model 1/2 on one of them and then the fraction on the other for comparing. And then to check themselves, they would take one of the 1/2 pieces, and then for example, 2/6, they would take two of those, compare them, they would see that 1/2 is greater, but then we also were talking about equivalent fractions. So we talked about how 3/6 would be equivalent to 1/2, and because 2/6 is less than 3/6, then I know 2/6 is less than 1/2. So we are kind of working in some other deeper discussions. After that, we moved into identifying multiple fractions that are less than a given fraction. So for example, identifying two fractions that are less than 2/5. And I really use this as a way to catapult the conversation about same denominator and same numerator and what that means. So my students were pretty easily able to go, oh, well, 1/5 is less. And we talked about why. Well, they both have the same denominator. That means they have the same size pieces. So whichever one has the bigger numerator, that means it has more pieces, therefore it is the greater fraction. Then we talked about 2/6 has the same numerator as 2/5. That means they both have two pieces, but those pieces are different sizes. And we talked about how if I split a whole into 6 pieces versus 5 pieces, those pieces have to be smaller. And we were just trying to hone in on that vocabulary and that explanation with those. Then we moved on to deciding whether the comparison was true or false, and using that same reasoning. So for example, 5/4 and 3/4, we were looking at how 5/4 is greater than 1 whole. Therefore, because 3/4 is less than 1 whole, we know that it's the greater fraction. These are both equivalent to 1 whole, so they're actually equivalent, so one is not greater than the other. 3/8 is less than 1/2, but 6/10 is greater than 1/2, so I know that 3/8 is the smaller fraction. And then for 4/5 and 3/4, they're both 1 piece away from the whole, but this one is 1/5 away, and this one is 1/4 away. And since fifths are smaller than fourths, that is the greater fraction because it's a smaller piece that's missing from being whole. Now, when I'm working with students, we kind of work through the first set together. After that, I would pace them based on how they were doing. So I had some students who got through all 3 of those pages. I had some students who only got through like the 2. I very much focus on quality over quantity when it comes to intervention, and it's not a matter of like, okay, how many problems can we get through? It's that discussion and that being able to really explain their thinking and support it and be able to use multiple strategies. That way, if they get stuck with one, they've got other ones. But that was math, and that was the walkthrough. Overall, I think it went well. Let's go ahead and go through some Valentine's Day stuff, shall we? Okay, first, Valentine's Day is on a Saturday this year. So we will be celebrating on Friday. Yes, Friday the 13th. It's gonna be fine. We are gonna have our Valentine's Day party in the afternoon. So as a result, we will follow a party schedule that day. We're gonna have a little bit of a condensed schedule for instruction earlier in the day. We'll have the Valentine's Day party. A lot of students will probably go home after that, but we'll have just some fun activities to do after. First, I will need to find a morning work activity to have out on their desk that morning, just something fun. So that's not happening right now, but that will need to happen before next Friday. We do a Guess the Baby game every single year, and it's so much fun. Basically, we have parents send in photos of their student, either as a baby or as a young toddler, and then we put them all in a slideshow, and the students have to guess which picture belongs to which student.
Has anyone seen a small... Stop that tiny blonde woman, she stole my baby!
I'm not sure if we're gonna do that before the party or after. It'll kind of depend on when I sit down to actually do the schedule, but that is on the radar. I've already been taking the pictures as parents submit them and put them into slides. So I will probably vlog that day and I'll show you the actual slides, but that is a work in progress. I already have a kind of Valentine's Day themed math lesson ready to go for that day. I don't know what we're doing in science yet. Honestly, it's gonna depend on where we're at with things. But I do always give my students a treat, like they exchange Valentines. A lot of them bring in little decorated boxes. It's super cute. And I'm doing the same thing this year that I did last year, which is an exploding volcano kit because the inner science teacher in me just can't resist. So I got these as bulk packs on Amazon. Each pack has 24 kits, so I have 2 of them. I actually purchased these with funds that I got from Boosterthon. So when we did Boosterthon a few months ago, we got to spend like 10% of what our class raised, and these were purchased with that. But I love that it all just comes together and I have to assemble them, and it's very mindless. So let's go through. First, we have the actual little volcanoes. So these are just plastic volcanoes that will go in the bag. Speaking of bags, this is the bag it will go in. So when they all get assembled, it will go into that bag. Inside of there, they will get the little pack of citric acid and the colored baking soda. And it comes with various colors, so it's just gonna be random. You get what you get. They will get a stick to be able to stir, I think inside of the volcano or something, a directions card, which is already pre-printed, fantastic. It's all gonna get tied up with a ribbon, and there's a tag. So I think there are 4 different like tag designs, if you will. So this one says, I lava you. This one says, all you need is lava. This one says, I lava being your friend. And then this one says, my heart erupts for you. So they're all very punny. I thoroughly enjoy it. I did go ahead and write my name on the back. I'm gonna fill them in with student names. We actually tell our students on their Valentines not to fill in the to section. They just bring however many they need for the class. That way it makes it much easier for them to pass it out. Little hack for you if you've never done that. But I write their names on it only because I guarantee you at least one student will leave their volcano on the floor, in their desk, on the ceiling, who knows? And I wanna make sure their name is on it so it can get back to who it belongs to. But for now, I want to at least get the kits assembled. So I'm gonna assembly line it. I'm just gonna grab a bag, put in the stick, the little packets, the volcano, the directions, have all the bags ready to go, and then I will go through and tie them with the tags. But we'll see how long this takes. It's one of those things where, in theory, it shouldn't take that long. It's easy, but you start assembling 40 something of them, and it takes a little bit longer than you expect. But I do like that the ribbon is already cut and ready to go. It's just one of those extra things that I don't have to worry about. So let's get to assembly lining. By the way, I will link these for you if you are interested and want to twin with me for Valentine's Day. Remember when I said, oh, I love that the ribbon is already cut? Next time, Michelle, actually unravel it all the way. You will see it is one long piece. So I'm gonna cut it in order to make the 24 that I need for this pack. I think I'm gonna fold it in half, cut it, and then cut each of those halves into 12 pieces. I don't know, I'm gonna try to use math on my side because apparently logic and common sense is not. It is not already cut into individual pieces. All right, we did it. Now my problem is that I need to figure out where to store them all because I forget how much space they occupy once they are all assembled. But I think I'm just gonna bring one of those big reusable grocery store bags, like the ones from TJ Maxx or Marshall's that are massive. I'm gonna bring one of those from home, put them all in there, and then just keep it behind my desk. But the hard part is done, and that's a good feeling. Now, as you can see, I do have extras. So I have 6 extra from this year. Pretty sure I have 6 extra from last year, which gives me 12. I'm still gonna have to buy another pack next year. Although next year I only have to supply them for one class. And then I think the year after that, I'll have enough extras to do my whole class without having to buy more. So it's buy it for 3 years and then get a year free, if you will. But I actually have a bin in my closet full of extra types of things whenever I do little gifties and whatnot. And so I just compile them all in there. So I'll get those put away. But y'all, I feel good. I get to check that off of my to-do list. I do still need to find something for the morning of, but I feel like the time-consuming task of assembling these is done, and yay, I've basically accomplished my entire to-do list today. So I am leaving here feeling good. It has been a long day, but it's been productive, and I really like to start my week with as much productivity as I can, front load it, because I know as the week goes on, I'm going to get tired. Plus, Mondays, I have a rest day from the gym, so I don't have to leave from here and go train for 2 hours, which is nice, and that is even more reason to try to get extra things done on Monday. I'm gonna treat myself on the way home. Y'all, this is so bad. Everyone's got their thing, right? Everyone has their little way to treat themselves. This year, my thing has become stopping at Quick Trip, which Quick Trip is just a gas station, convenience store kind of place, almost like a Wawa or a Royal Farms, but it's your typical kind of gas station, but a little bit nicer, especially the ones we have around us. A lot of them are newer. And I will go and I will get either a Coke Zero, a Cherry Coke Zero, or a Dr. Pepper Zero, because those are my favorites. And I get it in like the foam cup with a bunch of ice, and it's crispy. And I know it's probably not the best to get that like all the time as a treat, but it's better than other things. And you know, you gotta have those things that bring you happy. And this year, getting a diet soda in a foam cup from the gas station on the way home is how I'm treating myself. So I'm gonna grab one of those, and then hopefully Billy's feeling better. Tonight, I cook on Mondays, but I don't have to actually do any cooking. I got everything prepped over the weekend. We're doing like buffalo chicken bowls, and so I already cooked up chicken and shredded it. I'm just gonna toss it in buffalo sauce. I've already cut up all the veggies and things that go in the bowl. So I feel good knowing that like I'm done for the night. You know what I mean? Like I can relax, I can enjoy watching Gilmore Girls. We are also watching Arrested Development, which I had never seen, and we are loving it. We're not even done season 1 yet, but thoroughly enjoy it. So if you need a new show to watch, there's an idea for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.